Thanks for having me. Colleagues, I could say, because I used to be a teacher for 15 years, and I understand that most of the crowd here today are teachers. I hope you understand my English. I'm not an English teacher. I've never done this before. Well, now I'm lying to you. I did this morning, and I think they understood me quite well. But sometimes I don't have the right words, but I think we'll get the message through. I met Disa in Malmö. Is it a year ago or something? Yes. Yeah. You came to my school with a couple of teachers, and then we have sort of kept in contact. And then you asked me to come here and talk, and I think, well, what can I tell you that you already don't know? Well, maybe something, but I said, of course I come, because I've never been to Iceland. So this is Iceland for me before my first visit. And yesterday, I saw the horses and the geisha. I didn't see Björk, but I've seen her before, not in Iceland. And those lovely people up there in the corner. And they had a leader from Sweden. So maybe that's a good one. And Iceland is as many people as my town, Malmö, is the same size. So I was comparing Iceland to Malmö. So we also have great music. Maybe some of you may have heard about the Cardigans. We have big houses and a bridge to Denmark. And of course we have Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I just now realize how stupid of it is to show a team and one person, because it is the team that does it, isn't it? It's not the one person alone. It's what we do together. But still, Zlatan stands for something, and he's from Rosengård, where I used to work as a principal. So who am I? Well, my name is Annelie van Lunteren. I've been working with education for 23 years in Malmö all the time. I started out as a preschool teacher, and during that time I studied to become a school teacher in Swedish, mathematics, and Swedish as a second language. I did that for 10 years. And then I became a principal, and I've been working as principal for the last 8 years. I'm at my third school now. And I'm not planning to do anything else in my working lifetime. I mean, school is sort of my life, and that's sort of sad to say, perhaps, or not. I sometimes have a vacation, and I do have a family and interests, of course. All of my friends are teachers or headmasters. My husband, he's a teacher, and my son, he goes to school. So that's what I do. And this is a cheesy one, because I'm not a Whitney fan, but this one got stuck to me early. I mean, we are working with children, aren't we? And sometimes what we get out of the children reflects on us, on the choices that we do, how we guide them, and how we teach them. How the results of the kids reflects on your work. I think we need to bear that in mind. How well a school is doing is reflecting on my work as a headmaster. I really do believe that. I take full responsibility of my schools. So right now I work as a principal at SKOLAN. It's a quite big school, 700 pupils, aged 6 to 16. We have also classes for kids with special needs, autism, blindness, and intellectual disabilities. And it's very much like Malmö, my school. We got all types. We got the newly arrives, we got the second language learners, the second generators, the native Swedes, we got those with parents with high education background, we got unemployed, we got it all. We're very much like Malmö. Sometimes when people are making a study and they need one school to like represent, they look at Videdalsskolan because it's very much Malmö. But before I came to Videdal, because I only been there for a half year, I used to work in schools where at least 70% of the students had Swedish as second language. And my last work was, I was principal at Rosengårdsskolan in Malmö. And all the students at that school, everyone, there is second language learners. We haven't had a Swedish kid for 15 years. So talk about segregation and interculturality and integration, or not, because where are the Swedes? Well, that's another topic. And during my 4 years, we took that school from chaos to order and results. And this is a picture, it's in Swedish, I'm well aware, I'll try to explain it for you. If you look at the green, the green ones, the one on the top, it says 69.4, and below it says 50. My school, Rosengårdsskolan, was supposed to deliver 50% in the results for the 6th graders, because we don't have a second, 8th, and 9th. So my boss told me, I expect you to deliver the result of 50% pupils with grades that are okay, not failures. But we delivered 69.4 after 4 years. When I came, it was 14%. And then we went to 22, and you can see 22 was the year before as well. And then we took 69. They won't probably have 69 next year, because I know that those kids have bigger problems, or whatever you call it. But they will do well over 50. And we're not planning to drop that. Even though I don't work there, I still keep in contact with that school. So I mean, it's possible if we do the right things. Everyone at the school. I must take full responsibility in leading the school and leading the teachers in their way of working with these kids. So, Malmö, I don't know if you heard about it. It's the 3rd largest city in Sweden, and it holds sort of 340,000 citizens. It's in the south of Sweden, and there's just a bridge to Copenhagen. And it's a very multicultural city. It's also a very segregated city. Some school in my town, all the kids have Swedish as a second language. I mean, if you take Rosengårdsskolan, another Swedish kid for 15 years, okay? And then you got school where all the kids have blonde hair, blue eyes, and just Swedish as they can be. So how do we organize a city like that so that every student gets the best for them? This is a picture about how many newly arrives that we in Malmö takes every year. So 2015, it was 1,252 pupils. Next year, 1,027, and so on and so on. 2018, we are now 1,024. And this is 1 month ago. So that's what we know. We know that we will get around 30,000 kids every year that comes from war, poverty, another school system, and all of that. So we need to think about what we must do Because we can't just take them to our schools and say, welcome, well, just follow me and it will be all right. We need to think about how to change our way of learning and teaching and working and leading. In my town, we have a primary management or an administration, we call it. We are 87 schools, I think, in Malmö, and every school has one principal. So we are 87 principals in Malmö. But we have an administration that helps us with different things, with the budget and human resources and all those things that I don't want to do, because I just want to be with the kids and with the teachers and leading that work. But they focus on those tasks. And I have a boss, and she leads me in a direction, and they lead all of us headmasters in a special direction. And we always take our direction on research and proven experience. We never just do what we think is good. We really try to look around. We are looking in Canada's direction right now. And last year, all of us that work as principals took the ISL education for 1 year. That meant that people from Canada, from Ontario, came to our city and educated me in how to be a better leader for learning, and how to be a better leader for results, how to learn with my teachers. Because I need to know what you know to help you and to provide for you. And if I don't know what you are dealing with, how can I do that? I mean, I need to be in the classroom. Am I supposed to help you and to organize you and to do what I need to do with the resources? Because that's my power. Some places power is like a bad word. I don't think so. I love it. But it comes with responsibility. And if I'm not ready to take responsibility, I shouldn't have power. But since I have power, I do take responsibility for my school. So if I'm supposed to take responsibility, I need to know what's happening in every classroom in my school. And I do. I've been there for 6 months. I know all the students. Because that's what I do. I need to be with the kids every day. If I don't, I get bored. Then I do something else. I used to be a teacher for 15 years, and I loved it. So why did I finish? Well, I think I can do even more as a principal than I did as a teacher. Coherence is the thing that we do now. We try to make everything fit into the whole picture. And in Malmö, we have this say, everyone talks about every student's best school. So every student's best school, is that 87 schools that looks the same? No, not in my word. Do they have the same resources? No, because they have different students. So equal and equalisance, it's not the same. It's very much about looking what one school needs. So different school and their student, they need different means. We can't do the same at every school if the children aren't the same. So we need to really look at the context. So in Malmö, we have done this thing called index. Every school in Malmö has an index. That's a number. And the index changes from 1 year to another, depending on which student that goes to the school right now. So if we're looking at socio-economic measures, and it tells me how much money I get to my school. My last school, SKOLAN, had the highest amount of money in the whole town of Malmö, and everybody knew that. So sometimes when I went to meetings with the other principals, I can hear the buzz. So I just say, well, yes, I know, I got the most of the money. But I will show you results, so just be quiet. And I have shown the results, so no one's talking anymore. Because I think that's what it's all about. I got the trust to take care of that school. I got the money so I could do what I wanted. I had a vision, and I saw it through. Then it's okay to get more money. Don't you think so? Yeah. But I want to say one thing really clear. Money is not the solution. It's what we do. It's really what we do that makes a difference. And you can do a lot without money. It's about the mindset, how we think about our... Oh, some people are really leaving, sorry.
I was this morning.
Okay, very nice. I was starting thinking, no, why did I come here? Well, it's always like this. So the school index tells us something. How well do you know the Swedish school system? Well, preschool, 1 to 6, comprehensive school, 6 to 15, and then it's up in secondary school. It's just a picture of it. It starts here in the preschool. I started my career here. I worked there for 5 years. I told the purple persons this morning about when I used to work as a preschool teacher. I was younger, maybe more crazy, but I was always in it with the kids, doing it with the kids, running around in the yard, cycling on their bicycles and playing Santa Claus and the guitar and singing and having fun. I think, are you having fun at your work? Yeah. I mean, if I didn't have fun at my work, I wouldn't be doing it. I mean, it's a waste of time, isn't it? So it's, I think, playing, creating, exploring. I wanted to take that to the school. So I tried to think like that, even in the comprehensive school, and even in leading my teachers. Well, we have grades from the 6th grade. We have grades A to F. I don't know how you put your here. And A to E, it's pass grades. And if you get an F, it's a fail. So E is the lowest and A is the highest. It's really hard to get an A. They're looking over this right now, I think, in Sweden. So we'll see what we are about to. So now you know how it looks. You can't have, you must choose if you're reading Swedish or Swedish as a second language. And there are laws and rules how we choose between those two curriculums. And it's me as the headmaster who decides that. So how can I take that decision if I don't know what's going on? So that's why I know what's going on. Yeah. Newly arrives. Well, we get thousands of them every year in Malmö, so we really need to think about how to do. And in Sweden, I don't have the numbers. I mean, we're 10 million people in Sweden. So if Malmö gets 1,000, well, Sweden gets even more. So Skolverket, that works with the whole of Sweden's schools, they have done this kartläggningsmaterial. And I know that you are actually now looking at that here in Iceland and interpreting it to Icelandic. And it's really good, because it's so clear. There is the teacher guide and the interpreter guide and what questions to ask. There are the forms where you fill in. It's already done. So you just need to do and follow it. In Malmö, since we get so many students, they all come to one place that's called Mosaic, and they have the first meeting with the family, the parents and the student. And they sit down and talk about what has been. So, how many years have you been to school? Okay. Which topics have you read? Okay. which languages do you speak? Have you been in school for the last year? Because some have been moving around, you know how it is, for the last year, haven't been to school. And we need to take that in consideration. So that's what we focus on. Some students that comes to us, they haven't been to school. So what do we do with them? I'm not showing you the kartläggningsmaterial because it will come to you, but it can be good to know that it's quite good. After this first meeting, we go into step 2, and there we focus on literacy and numericity. And it's not math and Swedish just like that. It's more about having a discussion with the student to find out if they have been working with mathematics in the way that we think about mathematics, problem solving, and if they understand the different names of everything and so on. And there are different levels, and if they pass one level, then you go to the next one. Until they don't pass, then you stop. Because you're not supposed to test for a failure. So just push it till you find, okay, this is where the end is. So you get the picture of the student. So when step 1 and 2 are finished, the teacher that has done this survey makes a recommendation. They look at the pupil's age and the results and the background, and they send me, the headmaster, okay, this student, we think 5th grade will be good for this. When I look at the result, I recommend a 5th grade, okay. Then I take the decision if it's supposed to be in the 5th grade. Or maybe I think, no, I actually think it will be better in the 4th grade by some reason. I can also decide on how the schedule for this newly arrived could be like. Because there is a possibility that during this pupil's first year, I can do a prioritize from the curriculum. I can say, well, this student will not be reading geography, chemistry, and physics. Let's focus on math, Swedish, and English, and some other things. For 1 year, we can do that. Because the important thing is to get into the school system and learn how to work their way through the Swedish school system. In Malmö, we try to place newly arriveds to every school, but we don't succeed. There are still some places that don't have anyone, because it's full. I mean, we can't do much more than 30 kids per class, so we can't just put them there, because we can't take anyone out. So some schools get more newly arriveds. That's just the way it is. I think this picture says a lot. If we have 3 different schools with different needs, and we give them 1 box each, that's the best solution for every kid's best school? Or is it that one school don't get any box and another gets 2? Are you with me? That's what we're trying to do. And I think it goes all the way. I mean, the administration does that to our different schools, and yes, there was a lot of talk in the beginning. I do it with my teachers, because I know which teachers, yeah, they need a little, but some teachers I need to be real close, to watch, to learn with, to guide, to sit in on some meetings, to help, to support. I know that. Some of my teachers, they have been working for less than a year. Of course, they need more of me. I mean, I remember how it was when I was a new teacher. I was like 23, and you're not so tough that time. You love your work, but you don't know how to do it. Well, you do, but you haven't done it before. I mean, we are all supposed to be new at the job sometimes, aren't we? And that's where I come in. That's my job, to guide them, to trust in them, and to help them. So I can't be with every teacher as much. So I also think about these boxes. So once a student starts at my school, and I had taken the decision in which grade they're supposed to be in, the work begins. We must still continue to survey, because we don't really know how good they are at geography or chemistry or physics. So there is a thing called step 3. That one you don't do like this. You do it, if I'm a teacher and I have 2 newly arrived in my class, and I'm starting a new working area, and I'm going to work with Geography Europe, I need to check out the 2 newly arrives. How much do they know about this? And then I can go into step 3, find geography, and there is already a standard test, so I can see how far they have come. Because the rest of the class, I mean, I got them covered, because I teach them, so I know what they know. I don't know if anyone understands Swedish, but I will try to explain this picture for you. In the school, we have 700 pupils, perhaps. And they all have different needs, yeah? And as a teacher, when I was a new teacher, I thought that, oh yeah, this is my class, and I love them, and we're having fun every day, but that guy and that girl, oh, I didn't really know what to do with them. Someone else perhaps can do it for me. So, oh, I have a problem. So, well then, no, well, we can't do it just like that. Have you tried this? That's the red one. I thought that someone else could do it. Särskilt stöd kallar vi det. We call it that, särskilt stöd. And some kids need that, of course. But you're not supposed to do that much of it. And then you go to the yellow one. That's about adjustment that I, as a teacher, can do in the class. I have 25 kids. I need to adjust something for every kid, every day. Yeah? That's the way it is. But the best thing is the green one. It's what we do for all the kids every day, all the time. So the more of the green we do, the lesser of the yellow one, and the lesser of the red. So we really need to go all the way down to the green one. So the more green we have in the classroom, well, it's just to work. Second language learning. As a teacher in Sweden, I was a teacher in Swedish from the beginning, and then I took another exam to become a Swedish as a second language learner. So we do that as a special course. So we need to have that in thinking. As I was talking about before, Malmö is very segregated. So every school needs to think about how to organize on that school. And when at my school, I also had to think about which grade and which class, depending on the students' background and results. Can't do the same for all newly arrived, because they are different students. And it's always the students' needs that guides us. My decision depends on this student. I can't think about them all as one group. I must think about them individuality. Education. When I studied to become a second language learner, these were two of my heroes, still are. Pauline Gibbons and Jim Cummins, I don't know if you heard about them. They're really good at helping a teacher how to work with kids that has another language instead of Icelandic as their first language. They talk about some things, and I will try to show them for you. Pauline Gibbons, she talks about scaffolding. And the light version, the fast track, it's I do, then we do, and then you do. You can't let the student do the work by themselves from the beginning. They won't manage that. So you really need to work with I do, we do, and then you do. And this is the same thing, but it's a bit more advanced. I mean, the teacher really needs to think about the way the teacher teaches in the beginning. Really have to find the methods that works, find the material that works, find the adjustment that works, and really be there for the student. Because if I do and you watch, then I do and you can help. And then you can do and I help, and in the end you do and I watch. And it doesn't go in one day and not in 1 week, but maybe in 6 months. High expectations, really high expectations. I mean, they know, they are so competent, these kids. At Rosengårdsskolan, when the the inspection came, and they asked questions to the teachers and to me, and they met with the students. And then I had a quick talk with them before they left to do the report. They said to me, we've been to a lot of school in all over Sweden, but we have never heard kids talk the way your kids do. And I was, okay, what's the complaint? My mindset is not so very good always. I mean, they were telling words that I have never heard. They use, you remember the red, yellow, and green? The kids talk about those words in Swedish. They have a very explicit language in Swedish because we have taught them that from the beginning. We never do anything simpler. If I got a textbook in geography, I don't take that text and make it easy so they can follow. No, I take that text and I guide the student. That's my job. There won't be a special book for those kids. They will have the same book. There won't be a special film for the kids that don't know Icelandic. They need the same film. But it's our job to help them understand it. And by choosing some of the methods that are proven to work, there will be results. It is, I know, because I've done it. The students, don't we love them? I do. Have we asked the students how they want their school? Do you sit down with your students one-on-one and ask them, how do you like to have it here in your school? What do you expect of me as your teacher? What can I do for you today? Do we ask them that? We do. If you don't, I think it's about time. We use this. We use pictures to everything. Because if you don't know the language, you can always look at the pictures. And that's a form of scaffolding. It's a support system. And there's questions here like, how can I tell you about your homework? Shall I email you, or shall I put it on a paper in your bag? How do you want me? What's the best way for you? Oh, I need to think about that. Well, I don't need any help. Well, don't go for that one. You really need to ask them, because they know, they have the answer. Do they want to have the day schedule on the whiteboard? Do they need an own schedule on their desk? What do they need to get through the day the best way? Ask them. They will let you know. Jim Cummins, he's another one of those who really knows how to learn a second language. And he talks about when you look at the task that you do in the school, the task follow a certain pattern or something. If a newly arrived student gets easy questions with no support, they are working in the D area. It's very low learning and they will get bored. So that's not the way to do it. If they get challenging tasks and no direction, no guidance, no teaching, they will go into the C area. And the C area is frustration. We don't want them there. If we start in the A, easy questions and a lot of support, they will get a comfort zone. And once that is done, you can move up to B, still being supportive, but higher challenging. And when that one is good, you can move into C. Challenging and not so much support. But you need to do that. You need to start with the A to the B to the B to the C. Are you with me? Time flies. Yes. Pictures, again, this is from one of my classrooms. The left picture, all the classroom has this one, because it's always the same. That gives the student, they can relax and they know what's coming. Every lesson starts with, what did we do yesterday? Okay? What's today's goal? Okay? And then I will teach you something. I will have a lecture or something. And then you are supposed to work. And when the work is done, before the lesson ends, we will do a small survey, exit ticket perhaps, so that I know if my lesson was good. So I know what I can do better tomorrow. We do that with every lesson, in every classroom. Goal setting, and you know, I don't know how it is here in Iceland, but where I work, sometimes it's the happenings that guides me and not me guiding the school, because there is always something happening, so I need to do and do and do. Those schools that work that way, they won't do as well if they set goals and keep the direction and works with the goal. I think it's the same way for you as teachers in the classroom with your kids. The kids need to know what you are expecting of them. This is another model of cirkelmodellen, Pauline Gibbons. And it's very much this, I do, we do together. And then you're finished. But never leaving them with a task, always being there, always supporting them. This is in Swedish, but I think you can understand. This is one of my teachers called Daniel. He was going to a second grade, 8-year-olds, and they were doing a thing, and he was making the instructions for the kids, for all the kids, not just newly arrived, all the kids, because this is good for everyone. And I think that just by looking at the pictures you can understand. 1, cut out the text. 2, take glue and put it in the purple book. 3, paint a picture that goes with the text. 4, then you are supposed to take your hand up and wait for Daniel. If we can provide all of our students with this every lesson, I think it would be quite easy to work. Yeah, well, this is, I was talking to a lot of headmasters and principals this morning, so maybe not so interesting for you. But this is interesting. I am guided by my administration what to do, of course. I have a boss. But I guide my school, because I'm the one that knows my school's context. I am the one that looks at the students' results. I know each and everyone's grades. So I can ask a teacher, well, I was looking here, I was thinking about this pupil, didn't pass music. Why? And then they can tell me. And then I can ask, so what are you going to do about that? We can't have it like that. I mean, that's the task, to do it, so all students pass with good grades. So I'm very much into it. I look at all the results. I'm very driven by goals. When I started my school 6 months ago, I had a room like this, and they sat there. They didn't know, well, they had heard about me. Oh, she's that headmaster from Rosengård. Oh, yeah. And I said, in 5 years, this school will be the best in Sweden in something. I don't know what, but in something we will. That's my goal. So we're trying to find out what will be our thing to do. EHT, we call this. It's the school nurse, it's counselor, teacher for special needs or special education, school leaders, and psychologists. This is my team. Those are the ones that I guide the most at my school. Because they are the ones that the teachers, oh, I need this, I need this, I need this. Can you help me with this? I have this pupil, I have this. Well, no more of that, I have said. Everything goes through this team. So if I, as a teacher, have a student or a group of students within my class that I'm struggling with, I can't really get to know what to do with them. I need to contact the EHT, and we have meetings every Tuesday. They need to fill out a form and tell us what they have tried, what they have done, and what they want to help with. And then we take it as a case and discuss, because we have different professions, so maybe we can find something out. And then we contact the teacher, and they maybe say, well, have you tried this, this, and this? If not, try that first before we do anything else. Or maybe the special pedagogue can go into the class and say, can I be on your next lesson? I would like to see what's going on with the pupils so I can get my own picture of it. And then we can have a discussion. Now we'll give you some examples for maybe what to do. This is the way we work. We go into the classroom. We try not to take out of the classroom. I'm the one with my team who decides where the resources should be. You can't do the same to everyone, because every class is different. So we are a team, or I like to call it a team. The team, EHT, then we can work together again. Health caring. If we work with health caring, the bigger picture, we are working on the ground level. That goes for everyone. Sometimes we need to work with prevention. That's the yellow one. And sometimes, sometimes we need fixing, and that's the red one. But we should do as little as possible as that one, because that's not the one that gives the best results. You've seen this before, probably. I mean, if the circle is the class, should we put out some students? That's exclusion. But if we okay, so we don't want that, so we put them in a group, but still outside the class. That's separation. Okay, we take that group and put them in the class. Well, then we're integrating. But inclusion, that's how I would like to see my school working. So we put the resources into the class for collaborative working, teacher and teacher, teacher and counselor, teacher and nurse, teacher and headmaster sometimes. Because if we are two looking at a group, there are 4 eyes, so we will see different things. And then we can try different things for the kids. So inclusion is what I'm aiming for. For me, it's always student first. That doesn't mean I don't support the teachers. I let the teachers at my school know, I got your back every day. I will do it for you. No worries about that. But students' needs first. No students, no work. I had a school, my last school, it's one of those schools, the kids come, kids go. It's like this all the time at Rosengård. And there was one time that we dropped like 10 or 15 pupils, and I could hear the teachers like, oh, well, that's nice, so we don't have 2 big groups. And I say, well, 2 kids more, and then I have to let 1 teacher go. Because that's the way economic works. If you don't have the students, you don't get the money. So we started to work on that thing of looking at it. Oh, well, I can take 1 more. And then I could also say, well, if we do like 25 in each class instead of 22, because it was 22 when I started, if we take 25 kids in every class, I will give you 1 more counselor, 1 more special pedagogue, and 1 more. Can we? Yes, I said. Because if I have 10 class, and I go up 3 kids in every, it's 30 kids, that's 3 people more. It's pure mathematics. But I need to know the rules, and the teachers need to know the rules, so that we can talk the same language. And to do the analysis, I mean, I dream of schools when I sleep. That's when I solve the problems. I love it, because it's like making a puzzle. And it's so good when it goes the way that you want. I think you need to be very focused on that. And if you have done a sort of work for a long time, and it doesn't give the result that you expect, stop doing it. Then you need to do something else. And maybe you shouldn't be doing that on your own. Do it together. Ask for collaboration. And then try and try and try again, because you will succeed one day. If you want to walk fast, yeah, well then walk alone. But if you want to walk far, walk together. It's an African saying. For me, this is very much how I like to work. It would be boring to work on my own all day. I always seek out someone to work with. That's all for me.
Já, það spurning hvort það séu spurningar á sal. Thank you, Annelie, for your lecture. We have time for some questions. Because við erum að taka þetta upp, semst fyrirlesturinn. Ég bið ykkur að reyna að tala hátt og skýrt þegar ég ber fram spurningarnar. Þannig að skilir sér inn á upptökurnar, en þær verða síðan gerðar aðgengilegar á vef okkar sem ég kynni fyrir ykkur eftir. En fyrsta spurning, gjörðu svo vel.
So when is the coffee break? 10, okay, yeah, I give you. You had a question. Well, I usually come to school at 7:30. go into my office, start the computer so they know that I'm at the work. And then I do my walk around. I take a walk through the whole school every day. Say hello, good morning to the pupils, and sometimes there is a pupil sitting, I can see they're sad. What's the problem? And I take 5 minutes with them. And then the teachers are coming in, and they all always have some small questions. And I like to do this in the morning. I want them to see me, and I want to see them, because I think it's a good way to start the day. And then the lesson starts, and I usually want to visit one classroom every day. And I don't sit there for 90 minutes, but 10, yeah. And then I probably have a lot of meetings, sometimes with parents, sometimes with another headmaster, sometimes with my boss, or something like that. And when I don't have the meetings, I do my mail and fixing and tricksing, yeah. Yeah, it's very different from one day to another. But I always do the walk-arounds in the morning. Yeah, a lot of meetings in the afternoon with the staff. Yes?
I was wondering, you said that Rosengård is a very segregated area.
Yeah.
Have you had any formal collaboration with other areas in Sweden, like in Stockholm, Tensta?
Yeah, we looked at them, but now they look at us. Yeah. Yeah, well, you need to do this sometimes, feel that you have achieved, don't you? I mean, collaboration is, I look at Canada now, because that's the thing I think about. I collaborate with other school leaders in Malmö, because Malmö is quite a big town, so I don't need to look at Stockholm. I probably have the answer in my own community. I'm always interested in learning something new. But of course I look at other schools. There was one school in Gothenburg, when I was supposed to do this EHT, how to think about leading them. There was a school in Gothenburg that I had heard about, and I thought, I must know what it is that they do. So a lot of my thinking comes from those. So of course I take, and then I make it my own, out of my context. Yeah, well, in Rosengård, we have another, we get more money. So we have 2 classes in each year. So it's 50 pupils, 2 classes, 25, and 3 teachers. So they decide how they want to work with those kids. Some have decided to make 3 groups. Some have decided to have the 2 classes and the 3rd teacher collaborating in other ways. In my school where I work now, we have 1 teacher in each class. And then I have some special resources that I decide according to the results.
And the 3 teachers are, from special resources?
Yeah. Yeah, they need to do all the levels, the red, the yellow, and the green. Yeah.
It's like for grade team.
Yeah, they are, very much.
Special teacher and class.
Yeah, sometimes it's 3 teachers, and one of them, we have this system in Sweden called förstelärare. It's the really skilled ones. They get a different task and a higher salary. So we had 1 of those in each grade per Rosengård. Yeah.
Just curious about what you say, the need for every student decides where they go. Does the aids not control anything?
Yeah, of course. We can't do, when I talk about the needs, it's more like what we do with the information that we have.
So you put the students in their year?
Yeah, yeah. They go into a class. If they don't have a intellectual function variation, because they have a different curriculum. But I have those in my school as well. Someone else's?
How many teachers for the new pupils?
Well, that depends. At Rosengård, I didn't have a class for the newly arrived. They just went out to the classes because everyone has second language learning. So we found that that was the best way at that school. But at where I'm now, I have one group, and it's not for the youngest, it's for the older ones. So maximum 1 year in that group, and after a couple of months, we directly start to look at which topics can they have with the class that they are supposed to be in. So we try to take them out into the normal classes as fast as just possible. And that's why I always think about the methods and the theories that goes for second language learners, other pupils also achieve from. So I think instead of taking them as a group, take that knowledge into the classroom and try to teach all the kids that way. That's how I've been working when I was a teacher. Yes?
How do you work with the language? When teacher are putting a task in the lesson, maybe you have 3 bilinguals or 6 bilinguals, they are going to work a task.
Yeah.
How do you work with the children about the Swedish and their own language?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first language is always their first language. You can never change that. And they dream in their first language and think in their first language. That's a really important thing to understand. I was taking this example this morning. When I was working as a teacher, I had a lot of Spanish kids, Bosnian kids, and Arabic and the Swedish. So I put them in 4 different tables working together when I was teaching math. And I had the lesson in Swedish, of course, and they got the task in Swedish, but then they were allowed to think and talk within the group in their own country, in their own language, because then I would get a higher level of the answer. Are you with me? But then they were supposed, then when they had the solution, they needed to interpret it to Swedish and tell me the answer in Swedish, because that was the task. But I don't mind them talking their own language, as long as they talk about what's going on in the classroom. And I do know a lot, even if I don't speak their language, you do know when they're talking about something else, don't you? Yeah. So yeah, of course. I mean, it's very important to think that the first language will always be the first, it's mother's tongue. I mean, it's been with you since you were in the mother's belly. You can't change that. It's a context. Is that the signal? Anyone else's?
I'm wondering, is the success also in other areas like in Stockholm, in Rinkeby,
Yeah.
as it is in Helsingborg?
Yeah.
So they look to you, or
No, they were first, or they succeeded earlier. I think we are starting to see patterns now. Whether it's Göteborg, Stockholm, Malmö, Linköping, or whatever, you're starting to see, well, this is what they all do. So, and when you see that pattern, just take it up and do it. Don't question it. I question a lot of things, but if it's proven to work, I'd just go for it. Are you with me? Yeah. And there's a lot of good things going on all over the world. That's the best thing about this job. It never gets boring. There's always something new, isn't it? Someone else before the coffee break? No one asleep? I mean, this is the, when you get to do lectures, you never want to have that thing after lunch, because everyone goes like this. So I try to talk loud and clear. It's better in the morning. It's the same with the students, isn't it? Yeah. So thank you for having me.